Good morning and welcome to SantaCruzVoice.com. I'm here. This is Bettina McBee here with you on Bettina's Buzz. And with me in studio, I have a wonderful guest who drove down to Monterey, from Monterey to be with us, Leslie Gallo.
Good morning. Good morning, Bettina.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have Leslie here with us this morning. I invited Leslie. Leslie is my yoga instructor. I am one of her students at Sweet Heat Yoga in Monterey, and I've been going there roughly, 3 years on and off when I do my best to be regular, and I'm very grateful that Leslie took the time to be with us this morning.
Thanks, Bettina.
So Leslie, tell us about your yoga instruction and the type of yoga that you focus on.
Yeah, I teach and I'm trained in Bikram yoga, Bikram method hatha yoga. It's a specific system of yoga. Typically, when we think of yoga in the West, we're thinking of hatha yoga, yoga postures, yoga asana, and there's all different systems of yoga asana, yoga posture, hatha yoga, and I teach this one specific system, Bikram hatha yoga.
How long have you been teaching, Leslie?
I've been teaching this specific style of yoga for 24 years. I was certified to teach in the year 2000. I've been practicing this style of yoga since 1999.
1999. Mm-hmm. So, and what's great for me this morning, everyone, is that I know Leslie as an instructor, and let me just say, as going into Sweet Heat Yoga, I started going because I was suffering from sciatica, and someone recommended that I try this type of yoga, which is in an extremely hot room, isn't it?
Right. We heat our classroom to 105 degrees and 50% humidity. So we like it hot. We want to sweat. We want to build internal heat. There's lots of reasons for that. The most clear and obvious reason is it makes stretching the body, stretching the muscles and the soft tissues of the body much, much more comfortable. It does add an element of cardiorespiratory challenge, your heart, your lungs. So it really becomes adding that heat. It takes a yoga class, which is generally thought of as being excellent for the musculoskeletal system, and it brings it up to a whole other level of being a complete system for nourishing and healing the body.
And that's one thing that I truly enjoy about your class, Leslie, is that while we're working to accomplish these poses, we're being reminded what we're doing for our body and for our well-being through the different poses.
Right. If you go back historically, yoga asana, posture or pose, the poses themselves were designed as, you could call it, a prescription. If you have insomnia, they would prescribe you certain poses to do for insomnia. If you had digestive issues, they would prescribe you certain poses for each of these conditions. And so the yoga therapist or guru would work one-on-one with an individual on their health. Over the years, in modern times, the last 100 years, it became clear that more people needed this kind of help than could be accessed. There weren't enough yoga teachers in India or in the world to help heal all the people that needed help. So they started to develop what we think of now as group classes, group fitness classes. And so what Bikram, this particular method of yoga does, Bikram yoga, is it synthesizes the postures together in a series of 26 that cover the majority of the most common ailments, particularly in Western society. Back pain, insomnia, even to some degree just anxiety, and overuse injuries in the joints. So all of hypertension is a big one. Hypertension's a big one. So what Bikram does, and he's actually a real living person, what this method does is it synthesizes all of these so-called postures, mini prescriptions, into one system of health. So it becomes a general system of health.
And that's exactly how I feel when I go in there, and I believe probably many students feel it's a homeopathic, natural way of letting us heal ourselves, and it's more than just physical, it's mental.
Yes.
And I love how in the class environment it's stressed to be very aware of yourself and take care of yourself. And even, yes, the fact that the room is so hot, to focus on just even staying in the room.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the things that the heat provides. It's is the, for lack of a better word, being uncomfortable to the point where you have no choice but to notice how uncomfortable you are. So what we're really trying to do...
I noticed that quite often.
So what a beginner would notice is, the first thing they would notice is, gosh, it's really hot in here.
I can't breathe.
And then we practice.
Why am I here?
And we're laughing because it's such a profound experience to step into this 105-degree room where you're instantly hit by this wall of heat, and then stand on your yoga mat, look into a mirror, which is another aspect that makes our class unique, is we practice in front of a mirror. So here you are, you get hit by this wall of heat, and then you're asked to look at yourself in the mirror. And you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? But really, truly, there you are, perhaps maybe for the first time in your whole life, being acutely aware that you're about to be uncomfortable. A lot of people don't like to look at themselves in the mirror. A lot of people don't like to be hot. And so it just kind of, it becomes instantly a novel experience.
And a lot of people don't want to be hot around a lot of other people.
Yeah, and a lot of other people, because we do work in a group. And that group synergy, energy is also really, really important.
And that was something that I didn't know that I would enjoy. I if I can use the word enjoy, it's just how the practice works. But that in itself, and we all have our routines. I have a routine of my own. I like to come in early. I like to I like saunas. I like the heat. So that in itself, and just take it all in. And then the stretches are my favorite, quite frankly. They're just really stretching. But again, within the practice, going through, there's how many poses we go through again?
26 poses and 2 breathing exercises. And in the beginning, many people come to yoga to stretch. We think of yoga as stretching. And really, stretching is the medium. The body is the medium. We do the stretches as a means to get inside our internal organs and glands. So we use flexibility to be able to access the interior, the deeper interior of our body, into our organ systems. The musculoskeletal system, the muscles, the joints, clearly super important. We need to be comfortable in our musculoskeletal system, but we're gonna go deeper. And in the heat, this hot heat allows us to go deeper into the body more comfortably and more quickly. So you get this right from the start, right from your first class. You get this internal stimulation, whereas in a typical yoga class, you'll feel stretching in your muscles. You'll feel your joints move, but we're gonna go even deeper than that.
How long have you been an instructor?
I've been teaching this class for 23 years. Yes, 23 years.
23. And how did you get started, Leslie?
I was prior to coming to yoga, I was a I guess you could say a serious amateur athlete. I didn't compete in athletics. I'm not a competitive person, but I was very much into running and weightlifting. And
what was your distance, or what was?
I ran short distances. I don't think I ever ran more than 5 miles in my whole life, but I ran very intensely.
Recreationally,
yes, that's the word. Recreationally, I like to trail run. I'd like to be by myself, and then I also got into weightlifting. This was in my early 30s. I got into running and weightlifting. Because I partied my way through my teens and my 20s. And by the time I was approaching 30, I had gained some weight and I wasn't feeling very good about myself. And so I started exercising, I started running, I started lifting weights, and it really became my lifestyle. And by the time I got to be 35, was experiencing some pain, overuse injuries, back pain, just those nagging aches that come with exercising, intensely. And I was grumbling to a friend of mine about another person who I knew that ran, about my aches and pains. And they said, hey, why don't you should try yoga? I heard it's good for healing, sore joints. And I thought, yoga? I really didn't know anything about it. And my first thought is, that's for sissies. That's too easy. I don't want to do that. I'm used to pushing myself. And I kind of just forgot about it. And then, I went on vacation. I was on vacation in Mexico at a resort, and they offered a yoga class. And I thought, okay, well, maybe this is my chance to try a yoga class. And, I've got to back up a little bit. I was already working in the fitness industry. I had just finished my degree in kinesiology, and I was certified as an exercise physiologist. And so I was already in the fitness industry. So I did this yoga class, and the first thing I thought when I walked into this air-conditioned yoga studio was that, gosh, I'm about to do all these stretches in this air-conditioned room, and knowing, because I come from was already in the fitness industry, knowing that I was about to do these deep stretches, and I wasn't really confident or comfortable about stretching in an air-conditioned room. Anyway, I found the class extremely boring. I was very cold, and the next day I was very sore. And I wasn't sure if I was sore because I had been stretching in the air conditioning, or if it was because my body was being challenged in a way I had never experienced before. But either way, I was intrigued. I can't say I enjoyed it, but I was intrigued. And then fast forward a couple of years, I moved to a new city, and my aches and pains had worsened. And I thought, okay, maybe it's time to try again. And this is how long ago this was. I went to the Yellow Pages. And I pulled out my street map. I unfolded my street map of my new city, and I pinpointed the yoga class that was nearest to my home. I figured all yoga's the same. What the heck? So I went to the yoga studio that was closest to my home, and it was Bikram. It was called at that time Bikram Yoga College of India, hot yoga. And all right, I picked a class and I stumbled in, and here I was hit with this wall of heat and this mirror and all of these people that looked like they knew what they were doing. And I started the postures with the class, and it was a completely different experience than my first experience. And I thought, if this is yoga, sign me up. I was hooked. From the first 10 minutes. I was in 100%. I knew I had found what I needed in that moment. So it took me a while to get there, as it often does. And little did I know what I was in for. It changed my life. It really changed my life.
It is life-changing. Mm-hmm. Okay, on that, we're going to take a break for a moment, and we'll be right back on The Buzz. Hold on. We're going to play our ad about the History Dude, tonight.
Why does he call it Calamity Cruise?
Do not miss one of the History Dude's final lectures. Hello, I'm Laura Owen.
And I'm Shaz Roth. Leadership Santa Cruz County presents an evening with renowned historian Sandy Leiden this Saturday evening at the Rio Theater.
In You Can't Hide, Sandy will unravel Santa Cruz County's mysteries that make our county the most interesting county in America.
An evening with the History Dude. Tickets include light appetizers, wine, and the opportunity to meet and greet lots of very interesting people.
Get your tickets before they sell out at sandyleiden.eventbrite.com. That's sandyleiden.eventbrite.com.
Don't forget, an evening with renowned historian Sandy Leiden this Saturday evening at the Rio Theater. Get your tickets for this Saturday evening at sandyleiden.eventbrite.com.
Do not miss one of the History Dude's final lectures.
sandyleiden.eventbrite.com. See you there.
Okay, we're back here live on Bettina's Buzz on SantaCruzVoice.com. And please know that there will be a live broadcast of the History Dude tonight from 6 to 9 right here on The Voice. So you can hear Sandy Leiden here on The Voice. And right now with me here in studio, I have Leslie Gallo speaking about yoga, Bikram yoga. She's my yoga instructor, and I'm so thrilled, again, if you just joined us, to have Leslie in studio with us. Hi,
Great.
Leslie.
Great. Thank you.
So again, you were telling us about your first experiences with Bikram yoga and how it changed your
Yes, it really did change my life. So I knew when I stepped onto that yoga mat for the first time in this 105-degree hot studio, I knew I didn't know what I was in for, but I knew it was different, and I love the heat. I mean, I just do. I just love the heat. I don't like being cold. I like being warm. So I thought this is a good start. All right, and then we started doing the postures. We started with the breathing exercise, which I thought was very weird.
I think that's kind of weird too. since you said so. Why? Yeah, that's kind of strange to me.
You know, the movement. We do a breathing exercise where we move our arms and our head and our breath in a synchronized pattern, in a time of 6 seconds on an inhale and 6 seconds on an exhale. And without being able to actually show you, I can just say that it struck me as very odd and kind of confusing. And I was intrigued right away. Why is it so difficult to coordinate my movement of my arms, the movement of my head, and the movement of my breath at the same time? Why is this so challenging? It was like a puzzle. And then we started the postures, and each of the postures are, again, a very, very thoughtful process of how am I going to get my body to do this? It seems like such a simple thing. Why am I having trouble just bending to the side? Why is this so uncomfortable? Why does this look so easy and feel so uncomfortable? And you've never really stretched your body this way, you know? So right from the start, I was very intrigued. And by the end of the class, I was exhilarated. I wasn't tired. I was exhilarated. I was excited, and I thought, I really think I've found what I need to heal my achy joints, but I've also found another tool that I'm going to put in my fitness toolkit. And because I was already a personal trainer, I was teaching fitness. And I thought, right from that first class, I thought, I have to learn more about this. I have to know more about this. I have to understand what's happening here. Because as a exercise physiologist, you think you know about exercise. But yoga, hatha yoga, is so completely different than any exercise we do growing up in this country. We play sports, we climb trees, play on the jungle gym. But nothing can compare to the physicality of this. Not that it's hard or easy, but it's foreign. It's different, and I was absolutely intrigued. So it was about just less than a year from the time that I took my first class till I went to the training. And that was done in Los Angeles. So I was living in Honolulu at the time, and I flew to Los Angeles for 2 months, and I did my training in Los Angeles for 2 months. And then I came back right away to my home school in Honolulu, and I started teaching. And when most people start yoga, myself included, we think we're going to take care of aches and pains. Maybe we're going to go for some mental clarity and calm and mental rest and mental rejuvenation. And all of those things are true and can be had. The most interesting thing about yoga to me when I started working with a cross section of people and not just myself was that whatever it is that you need, yoga will give you.
And I like that we're reminded of that.
It won't give you it may not give you what you want. I want this, I want that, I want to be pain-free, I want to be calm, but you might not need that. It will give you what you need. It may not give you what you want, but it will always give you what you need. And what I didn't know that I needed was really in my head. It was the way I was living my life. Mm-hmm. I was living kind of a self-destructive sort of lifestyle at that time. Even though I was fit and I was healthy in my body, I wasn't healthy in my thinking.
Yes, and that can be very destructive.
Yeah, I wasn't healthy in my thinking. I wasn't healthy in some of my interactions with other people, my family, and my loved ones. What it did over time, and of course these things take time. I realized that I needed to change my behavior, the way I was living my life.
Yes.
And it wasn't just about healing my joints. That was just a bonus. What really transformed in me was the coming to the realization that I had to stop my self-destructive habits.
Well, that's something that for me myself in coming to your classes is in the encouragement to be introspective and to, yes, look at yourself in the mirror and to sweat and stay in the room and even to let each posture go if you're not able to complete something, not to focus on that you couldn't do something, or just to move on. And in those type of mantras or instruction, again, those are things that you can take as encouragement outside of the classroom. They're instructional things for life, like breathing, and of course, controlling our breath and staying calm and
right, and knowing when to say it's okay to sit this one out.
Yes,
it's okay to sit this one out,
which I do.
We all do.
You probably don't remember, but one class I was in like Savasana, Savasana is when you're laying down.
Yes, laying down flat on your back.
Leslie said, everybody else in the class, as I glanced around in the mirror, was working diligently, and I was in Savasana. So Leslie goes, and if you need to be in Savasana, Bettina, that's an excellent example for you. I remember that very well. Very well. So.
Yeah, you got to have fun with it.
That was a long time ago, though, you guys.
Yeah, Bettina's really excelled in her yoga practice. She stays with us the whole class now. No, you got to have fun with it because it is work. It is a discipline. And I don't mean discipline as a verb. I mean discipline as a noun. It takes some wanting. You have to want to do it.
Yes, you do. You have to want to be there.
Yeah, you have to want to be there. You have to want to do it. You have to be curious, and you have to know when to pause.
And you have to know when to keep trying, though.
Yes, and
that's hard too sometimes.
Sure, but that's the 50-50. This is the up and down, and the up and down of life is sometimes things are easy. And even difficult things seem so easy. They call that being in the zone. And then sometimes even the simplest things will challenge you. And And this is how we learn to know ourselves, is going through this roller coaster. And I'll go back to practicing in front of a mirror, because there you are, and you can't run away. You have to face yourself. And so the mirror becomes a very important tool for literally self-reflection, and knowing when to go, knowing when to pause, knowing when to laugh it off, knowing when to pick yourself up and say, no, I got this, and I can start again, and being wise in when to make the call. Sometimes you come in feeling great. You come into your yoga class and you're like, I got this today. I'm going to have a great class, and it kicks your butt. And you're on the floor wondering what the heck just happened. And some days you come in dragging and you're tired, and you think, I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm just going to do a little bit today. And then you have a fabulous class.
The feeling of accomplishment, even as I scrape myself off the floor and drag, but I always feel so accomplished. And again, it's because I know I've done something for an hour and a half. As again, the instructors, well, I'll say I mainly go to Leslie's class, and then there's another instructor by the name of Janie, but I know all the instructors are very good. But it's that sense of being reminded of ourselves and taking care of self. And again, as I'd mentioned, that what the different poses are doing for our insides, our digestion, and our circulation, that's very motivating to keep doing your best.
Yes, and even if you only can do a little bit, that's great. Just do a little bit. Just do a little bit. Some days you'll be able to give more. Some days you'll need to do less. And we ask our students, even though it's an hour and a half, just stay in the room. Breathe. Do less, breathe more, stay in the room, be with yourself.
And it's like Serna reminds me, Mom keeps standing up. There's no more air down on there's no more air down on the floor than there is.
You know what? I'm going to use that.
Mom, there's no air down there
there's
either.
No air down there either. Yeah. I have a little quick note to myself. There's the underpinnings of yoga practice, the 8 limbs of yoga, they're kind of the you could say the 10 commandments of yoga. They're like a baseline. They're the yamas. They're the yamas. And it's translated as the restraints and the observances. And these are kind of there was a book written many years ago called "Things We Should Have Learned in Kindergarten," and they're basically just courtesies and common sense, how to behave with others, how to treat people kindly, and things like this. And talking about going through adversity, because we are uncomfortable in the hot room, and we sort of suffer together, and it can be very tempting for a lot of people to just say, I've had enough, and run out of the room. And there's a niyama, an observance, that asks us to practice going through adversity willingly and without complaint. And this observance translates as self-discipline. And so perhaps the first lesson that we learn when we come into this uncomfortable room and look in this mirror and we're very uncomfortable is that we want to leave. We want to simply say, I've had enough, pick up your things and go, even though maybe you're only 20 or 30 minutes into the class. I want to pick up and go. And so our observances, our niyama, asks us to practice going through this adversity willingly, without complaint. And this is how it's said we build our character, by knowing how to observe, how to restrain, how to observe myself, how to restrain myself, restrain from doing unkind things, observe when perhaps I'm doing something unkind to myself or to others. And there is a host of these yamas, niyamas, but they give us the underpinnings without knowing at least a little bit about observances and restraints. Hatha yoga practice can't really begin. The practice of observing yourself can't really begin to flourish. You can't start to know yourself until you start to know how to behave amongst others. Now, we don't teach in our class. We don't teach observances and restraints. We don't teach formally yamas niyamas. It's an undercurrent, I guess you could say, being in the group. We work together, be together. We start on time. We ask that you take a shower, that you not have BO or dirty feet. These basic courtesies, and then hatha yoga can really begin. Asana, posture, or pose, taking care of your organism, your system of health, begins with the understanding that you're amongst others. You're an individual within a collective, and that your behavior amongst this collective is really important for the success of your physical practice.
And it's very interesting that it is a practice to be practiced amongst others.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because this is how we live. This is how we live in the world. We live amongst others. And how we behave in the classroom is just a microcosm of how we should behave in the world. Mm-hmm. And, quote Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world. Be it. Don't just talk about it. Don't talk about it. Be it. Be it. Patabi Joyce, he's a yoga guru, a master, who is famous for the system of Ashtanga yoga. And one of the things, he's a simple guy. I don't know a lot about that tradition, but I've listened to some of his lectures, and he says, don't talk, just practice. Don't talk, just practice. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Don't talk, just practice. Just come in and do a little bit.
And even as we were talking yourself. Before Bettina's Buzz actually started, were saying that yoga is a practice.
Yes. It's a practice.
By definition, it's a practice.
It's a practice. It's never perfect. We have to keep trying. We have to keep trying. To, yes, be this change. Be the change. Start with yourself.
Show up to class.
Show up to class. Start with yourself. Because, we think, okay, I got to take care of my kids. I got to take care of my parents. I got to take care of my job. I got all this. I got to take care of others. But we neglect ourselves. We don't know how to draw the boundary. We don't know how to say no sometimes. We take on too much. We take on maybe obligations that don't enhance our joy. Yes, there's things in life you have to do that you're not going to want to do. I mean, that we just have to do those things. But there are ways you can learn how to manage yourself. And yoga asana, again, is just a microcosm of how we live in our world. When to say, I'm going to take a pause here. Learn how to say no. Learn how to draw a boundary. I need to sit this posture out. I need to say no to this moment. I need to say no to this moment. And then that moment passes and you can say yes to the next moment. And it will teach you how to draw boundaries. And again, going back to making your organism the best it can be. And only then can you help others? Only then can you help others. If your body is sick and ailing, how can you help others when you yourself are sick? It's like on the airplane when they say if the oxygen mask comes down,
put oxygen on yourself first.
Put on yours on first before you help children. And in our society we think, oh, we have to help the children first. We have to help them first. But if you are without oxygen and you become lightheaded or disoriented, how can you help that child? So you have to help yourself first. You have to care for yourself first, put your mind and your body in a proper state, maybe not a perfect state, and only then can you help others better.
That one thing I truly like about yoga is the focus on breathing, to keep breathing, or as you stated, the first exercise is the breathing exercise, and even one of the last exercises, which that's the one really, Leslie, I don't understand. When you're supposed to keep your stomach relaxed and
you pull your stomach in and out, yes, like a bellows. They call it bellows breathing.
What's the bellows breathing?
The bellows breathing.
What is that about?
What does that do?
I do it, but why, Leslie? Why?
Well, breathing is life itself, right? We cannot have life if we don't have breathing, right? So we start with a breathing exercise, we finish with a breathing exercise. So the breathing exercise in the beginning, if I can go back a little bit, is to expand our lung capacity, to expand our chest, and allow us to get full, deep, vitalizing breaths, right? This is waking us up via the oxygen that comes in through the lungs. Then at the end of the class, we do a breathing exercise that's designed to start to cool the body a little bit. But it's called the Kapalabhati breathing. It sometimes translates as bellows breathing. It sometimes translates as breath of fire. And what we're trying to do is burn off CO2. CO2, carbon dioxide, is a natural byproduct of human respiration. When we breathe, we expel water, CO2, but we also build up CO2 just by breathing, and particularly through vigorous exercise and heavy breathing, we build up CO2 in our bloodstream. So the idea with this Kapalabhati breathing is to use the stomach like a bellows, like a pump. And when you do this forceful exhale blowing action, like you're blowing out a large candle, it creates what's believed to be and burns off the CO2.
See, for me, it
oxidizes the CO2.
It was like torture because I've spent so much of my life, holding in your stomach. And
right.
So it's like, relax.
Yes,
that's a concentration in itself.
Yes, we ask you to completely relax your abdominal musculature to the point where your abdomen is really protruding, completely relaxed. And then you pull it in very forcefully and vigorously. So much sometimes that you get a cramp in your abdomen. That's how forcefully you're going to contract these abdominal muscles. And then this wind comes out, and the theory is it creates this I can't get that word out. It oxidizes the CO2.
Yes. So
that's the idea.
We here at SantaCruzVoice.com recommend, I do here, Bettina, I recommend that you try yoga if you haven't tried yoga. I know Santa Cruz has many great yoga venues, but if you want to venture to Sweet Heat Yoga in Monterey, Leslie, tell us some of the things you offer.
We
classes.
Yeah, we offer primarily Bikram method yoga, the original full 90-minute class. This class is commonly called Bikram yoga. It's offered all around the country, all around the world. The original format is a 90-minute class. We also offer it in a 60-minute format.
60 minutes is much more difficult.
You think?
I think so.
How come? Can I
Because
answer
you
your
have to
question?
do
Why?
everything in 60 minutes. Because you don't have that time to do it twice. And maybe
Yes.
okay. No, I have found the few times I've done a 60-minute class, I was much more exhausted
Oh, that's interesting.
than after a 90-minute
The
class.
90-minute class, I know it seems counterintuitive, and I get this question all the time. The 90-minute class is the beginning yoga class. This is where we recommend people start. And we get the question a lot. Well, shouldn't a beginner begin in the shorter class, in the 60-minute class? And we say no.
It's harder.
And the reason is because the shorter class does each of these 26 poses only one time. So there's no repetition. There's no reinforcement of the learning or the lesson. And in the longer class, we do every posture twice. So you get to try again, because the body and the mind and the brain and the breathing and the rhythm, it takes practice. So we want to give you in the longer class an opportunity to try that posture again right away and reinforce that lesson. The breathing, the movement, practice, practice, practice. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. And so in the longer class, you get to try twice. So learning is accelerated. Learning is accelerated. So we suggest that the 90-minute class be the foundation of a person's yoga practice. And the 60-minute class, you use that very sparingly. Just if you're really short on time and you just need a little supplement, you just can't get to that longer class, you can, of course, come to the 60, but it's really not designed for beginners. It's really not a beginner's class. The 90-minute class is the beginner's class.
It is the beginner's class.
Yes.
I'm an advocate for the
Yes.
beginner's class.
Yes,
but
because
it's,
you'll
yes.
always, I mean, what I hear is you'll always be a little bit frustrated if you only come to the shorter class, because you're not going to be seeing the progress. And if you don't see your practice progress, then you get frustrated with it.
And in that, what do you suggest is the amount of days one should go to really start seeing some progression?
As a beginner, a true beginner, novice, 3 days. 3 days a week.
That's what I'm working on.
Yeah, 3 days a week is a really good place to start. Make that your goal. If you can pick up a fourth or fifth day as your schedule allows, grab it while you can. Of course, there's going to be days where we're not going to be able to make it. But when you can make it as a beginner, you come as often as you can, and you reinforce that learning, and you get your body and your mind and your breath and your lungs and your circulatory system, and you get it jump started. And you wake it up. You wake it up, and you wake it up as many days a week as you can. Because inevitably there are going to be dry spells in your life where you're not going to be able to make it to class. So it's important that you develop a broad foundation. And your body, even after a short period of being away, it will remember. You'll develop this muscle memory. All of your subconscious systems, they will remember. But without a broad base, without a firm underpinning, it'll be always like you're starting over again. So as a novice, as a beginner, minimum 3 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, just get in there and do it, and jumpstart your body, jumpstart your mind. We have twice a year, we do a 30-day challenge.
I was just about to say, and then you do 30-day
30
challenges.
days, and the 30-day challenge is to do 30 yoga classes in 30 days. Do yoga every day.
And you
for
have a
30
lot of
days.
students who do
Yeah,
the 30-day challenges, don't you?
we do, and it's life-changing for some people.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And they're still smiling and everything.
And not only that,
They get on their bicycles after 90-minute classes and go right up, and I'm still scraping myself off the floor. It's amazing.
yeah,
One
and
day.
it is
One day.
transformative. And so the more you can attend, the more profound the change will be. The quicker it will come. You'll see the results. You'll wonder why you waited so long. Why you waited so long to start. It'll give you a whole new lease on life. It won't take long for people who to say, hey, did you get a haircut? You look good. What are you doing?
I have had people say that to me, but I think it's
You stand
the
a little
heat,
taller.
the heat and what the heat does for your skin,
Yes.
obviously your circulation, all that. I have had people kind of look at me sometimes and they're trying to, and I tell them right away, I said, it's the yoga.
Yeah,
I
it
tell them
does
I go to yoga.
incredible things for your circulation. And being an exercise physiologist and kind of a science dork, I'll throw this out there. There's an expression that says oxygen is the enemy of disease, and oxygen is the enemy of disease. If you can get your body flooded with oxygen by speeding up your blood flow, and this is true for exercise in general, but hot yoga is particularly good at this, to vasodilate the circulatory system and send that oxygen and send that blood flow into every single capillary of your entire body. Your skin glows, you stand up tall, you look younger, you look more vital.
And there's also that sense of pride.
Absolutely.
I mean, that sense of accomplishment and that you did such a good thing for yourself and you made it through.
Yep.
And you're
then
headed
that's
outside the
emotional part.
class for some air. So, just all those wonderful sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, sense
and
of accomplishment.
pride.
And you wear that in your body.
Yes.
You wear it, with pride. And it goes without speaking. It's unspoken.
So how do you feel as an instructor when you see students, I'll just set a scenario, like a student who's been coming in and then they start coming regularly and they, they get better and they accomplish. How does that make you feel?
Oh gosh, it's not always easy dealing with such a large cross section of the population because you have a lot of different personalities. But gosh, when this class and this process really captures somebody and they get it, they embrace it wholly, and you see the change, it's I don't even quite have the words for it. It's like watching a child grow. It's a natural process. It's like a proud parent.
That's nice.
Yeah. I'm not a parent myself. You guys are my kids. And I watch
and she's
you guys,
a disciplinarian.
And I am too, yeah. And I watch you guys flourish and learn.
You're very encouraging.
And grow.
I mean,
yeah.
You have.
And I because I've been doing this long enough now, I see people that I haven't seen in 10 years. Maybe I'll see a student I haven't seen in 20 years. And you know what? If they've been practicing their yoga all across these years, they've been consistent, they don't look any different. They're 20 years older and they look exactly the same. Yoga, hot yoga in particular, again, going back to the oxygen and the blood flow, it will keep you looking young as possible, as long as possible.
That'll have people be running there now.
Yes, no, I know. And so many times people say, oh my gosh, I went to my high school reunion or my class reunion, and here you are amongst your peers and you haven't maybe seen them for 20, 30, 40 years. And the yoga student says to themselves, wow, maybe this yoga really has done something for me that I didn't fully appreciate because I feel like I look more vital than my peers. It really is, it really does keep you young as possible for as long as possible. Yeah. It's amazing.
And you've had your business how long? Sweet Heat Yoga?
Yes, I've been the owner of Sweet Heat Hot Yoga since 2017.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So 7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
And you're right there on 10th Street.
Yes, we're in Monterey on 10th Street. We're sort of halfway in between the Naval Postgraduate School and Monterey Peninsula College. Yeah.
Near Lake El Estero?
Yeah, right by Lake El Estero, right off Highway 1. We're easy to find. We're easy to get to. We offer Bikram hot yoga 7 days a week.
And you have how many instructors?
We have 7. 7 instructors.
So
we are a small but mighty group.
And your
instructors.
socials, if people want to look you up.
Yes. You can find our website at sweetheathotyoga.com. And you can find us on Instagram at Sweet Heat Yoga.
And you have classes 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
And
we're open every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And how often do you do yoga?
You know, I've been pretty consistent over these last 24 years. I have to say that owning the studio, being the owner of Sweet Heat Hot Yoga, it has put a little bit of a cramp in my own personal practice. I'm not afraid to admit that because life does go in ebbs and flows. The COVID pandemic was a really, really difficult time for us. Obviously, we were completely out of business, and it took, really fully a year and a half. We've been open after COVID now for 2.5 years. It took really fully a year and a half for us to find our footing, and it did impact my personal practice greatly. But remember, at the same time, so I've been I practice twice a week.
That's good.
Yeah, and I've been in a little bit of a hiatus because I have some refocusing I want to do at the studio for the first of the year. I want to continue to work on improving the experience for the students, improving the workplace for the instructors, and this is my practice now. For the time being, I mean, I am in the classroom still, no doubt, but this is my practice now, and that is being that leader that I need to be for my students and for my teachers.
And you are a wonderful leader because you're there in that hot room with us, and your soothing voice guides us and reminds us to stay focused and to appreciate ourselves and our bodies and what we're doing. And sometimes as I'm working on a pose, I just look at you going, there's Leslie standing with that calmness in your voice and then walking amongst us just to be that extra reminder if needed.
And that reminds me, Bettina, that don't forget, when you go to work, when you are working in your chosen field, that's your yoga. Do it. Do that. Try not to splinter your thoughts. I know multitasking is like a big thing, but truthfully, you'll get more done, I believe, if you be in that moment and you focus on the task at hand and you put everything you have into that moment, no matter what your occupation. When I am leading my class, I am 100% with you. I am 100% with my students. It's almost like an out-of-body experience because I am with you. I am with you. I'm there for you. So your work is also your yoga.
That's true. I'm at yoga right now.
We are.
We're at yoga right now.
We are, and we're discerning. We're learning how to discern how our time and energy is best spent.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily about doing the physical exercise perhaps that day, but to focus on other types of well-being, our work, our family, when to discern, be discerning about how you're going to spend your time.
Be discerning. And as we come to the last little time of our show, Leslie Gallo, I want to thank you again very much for being on Bettina's Buzz here on SantaCruzVoice.com. We hope you have a great day.